Oh, we are so back. Yes, Dynasty lunch break. It's me, Garrett Price. I am your host for this show. And guys, I apologize. I was gone last week. Little family vacation. Not as much a vacation. I mean, kind of. We went to Oklahoma for a week. We used to live in Oklahoma. I got to visit some friends, see places that we used to work at, go to restaurants we used to eat lots of food. Your boy had been doing really good with working out, eating healthy, and then I put like 10 pounds back on. So, you'll have that. You'll have that from time to time. But guys, we are totally back here on the Dynasty lunch break. Fun show planned for today. It's officially August. Yes, it's officially August. And with it being officially August, we have football on tonight. What? What? We have actual football on tonight. Now, when I say actual football, I mean like it is real NFL football. It is preseason, and we'll get almost none of the names that we actually care about on the field. But still, it's real. It's here. It's happening. So let me know if you're excited for football to be back. I'm excited to be hanging out with you guys today, to be talking with you guys today, to just be, just living it up. Just living it up with you guys. Joey said football from today on all the way till February. My guy Joey gets it. He gets it. Josh, what's up, homie? Josh is always here. One of the most loyal nerd herders out there. Although many of you guys are very, very loyal nerd herders. We've got some fun stuff planned today. Of course, as always, get your questions in. Happy to answer some questions. Let you know my thoughts on trades and stuff like that. We are now getting into redraft startup season. And I thought about today doing a redraft startup, but most of us we don't do redraft much anymore. Maybe we do like one league here and there with our like closest friends, but for the most part, we don't do redraft. But we are going to do a Superflex tight end premium startup today. So I will put that in the chat in a few moments here. We'll get everybody going. We will start to do that momentarily. But until that time, I do want to answer some questions, hang out with you guys. Couple thoughts so far. One thing that I have not gotten to talk about yet, and I was nervous, if I'm just being completely transparent. I was a little nervous about my boy Javonte. Javonte Williams, everyone that has been listening for a while knows my love for Javonte. The two running backs that I love the most in the league, well, three running backs. One of them's right behind me in my guy, DJ Dallas. But other than that, Javonte and Tajay Spears, guys that I am extremely, extremely high on for fantasy football purposes. And Javonte, it wasn't looking good for a moment there. He was down a little bit. Didn't have the great season last year, but it was his first year coming off the ACL. It's to be expected. But by all accounts, he's slimmed down, far and away looking like the best back there in Denver. And I think all of this, Javonte Williams is done. He might get cut. Like all of these things were just so premature. Like we were ready to bury this guy. And I was starting to believe some of the narrative. I'll be honest, even as a Javonte truther, I was getting nervous. I was worried that maybe this is the beginning of the end. Maybe Javonte won't end up being the guy that I thought he could be. And anytime you have a severe injury like that, there is always risk that they don't come back the same and they're a different player than what you expected them to be. But it's looking good now. Looks like he's going to be the main guy, the main starter. Quarterback camps so far, sounds like Caleb and Jaden are looking very good in camp. Sounds like the other rookies, for the most part, when we're looking at McCarthy, May, Nix, looks like it's been a little bit of a rough camp so far. It's to be expected for rookies. I remember Patrick Mahomes had a rough camp. So I don't read too much into it. It's very, very early. It takes a long time for these rookies to really get things going, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Joey says, Superflex League, I have A-Rich, Kyler, Dak, and Levis. I'm not a big believer in A-Rich, so what would you ask if trying to trade him at his current value before he inevitably gets hurt again? That's a start 10 tight end premium contending team who could use running back, wide receiver depth. You have two good other starters. Brendan, what's up, buddy? You have two good other starters, so you don't necessarily need to go top tier or I guess second tier, because I would be totally fine flipping him straight up for Justin Herbert, for Jordan Love, for Caleb Williams. Like I'd be fine with any of that. But if you're looking to try to get some depth at running back and wide receiver, I think you could go the route of like maybe a Brock Purdy and a Joe Mixon, or a Mike Evans and Kirk Cousins. Probably could even get more on top of it than just Kirk and Mike. But like things like that where you downgrade a little bit. What's up, Jeremy? You could downgrade a little bit at your wide or at your quarterback position because you have two other guys that you feel confident starting. But then you could get yourself a little bit of depth on top at the wide receiver or the running back position. Also wouldn't be opposed to waiting till like week 1 or 2 when he inevitably just balls out. Kane saying Joe Milton outperforming May is scary though. Yeah, it is. It is a little bit scary if we're being honest. It is a little bit scary, but that's weird. His comment popped up at 5:28 p.m. Are you like a time traveler? Because it popped up to the very top. Huh. Oh, I can show it. I forgot about this. There we go. Joe Milton outperforming May is scary. Yes. It's only a few practices, but yes, it is scary for sure. All right. So let's go ahead and do it. We are going to be doing a Superflex tight end premium mock draft here. Let me copy the invite link. And first 11 to get in, get to do it with me. So let's post the link right here. Here we go. And let's see who's got the fastest trigger fingers in the West. I'm located in the Midwest in Ohio, but you get the point. Bonji's first one in. He's quick to the trigger, baby. But yes, all those quarterbacks, you want the better reports early, but it just doesn't always work out that way. Matt said Jerome Ford value rise with Donta down and Chubb. Who knows? Absolutely. He does get a little bit of a value bump there. He was better than I even realized, because watching him as a Browns fan, you're like, ew, this guy's not very good. But he had enough volume where he was solid. He was solid overall. So I do think he gets a little bit of a bump. I still think Nick Chubb comes back this year, is one of the better running backs. I don't think he has a RB1 season, but I think he'll come back, have good volume, maybe lose a little bit of explosiveness, but he's just such a solid player that it wouldn't surprise me if he was still a solid running back 2 option. All right, we're about halfway full at this point. About halfway full. Yes, Superflex tight end premium. Superflex tight end. Oh, we have 2 Matt B's. 2 Matt B's here. All right, we have spots 1, 3. Oh, nope, 3 just got taken. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8 are available. Brendan says, I want Bijan. I have CD, AJ Brown, Starvin Marvin Jr., Drake London, Sutton. Tight ends, I have Dalton, Laporta, and Bowers. Owner wants a wide receiver. I feel okay trading AJ Brown, but should I trade one of those tight ends for another wide receiver and just unload AJ Brown? I would be fine trading AJ Brown. You have CeeDee Lamb. So you're good as far as like stud at the top. And then London, Marvin should both be very good this year. But I mean, if you can get away with trading one of the tight ends, I would be. I mean, you're only likely going to start one tight end, and having three of them, I think I would rather do that, just because you're not going to be able to start all those guys. So that would be the route that I would probably go. All right, we've got 3 spots. So you guys are slow today. I mean, today football starts. People usually this takes like 30 seconds. We're struggling this morning, afternoon, whatever, 12:11. All right, let's get these last 3 spots filled so we can start this draft. The boss can help you draft. Jay says, Superflex, I have a Love and Goff and no one else. Is second round enough for Geno, or is there somewhere else I should go for to have a third quarterback? I think, yeah, you should be able to get Geno Smith for a third. You could probably also get maybe Will Levis, maybe Matthew Stafford. Trying to think. You could probably give a third round pick and get both Minshew and O'Connell. So yeah, there's definitely some guys that you can get there, but I think a late second is more than enough for Geno at this point. All right. Still 3 spots. Woo. We are there are 320 people watching. That can't be correct. There's that many people watching. How did this not fill up that quickly? I think the Twitter, the way they track it is just, did you look at this at one point? And then they just keep it as like a live person. So that's probably what's throwing us off. Because if we have this many people watching, there's no way this doesn't fill up in 30 seconds at most. All right. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready, people. I was born ready. With that thought, quarterback wise right now, this is probably the deepest I've seen quarterback in a little while. That rough class of the Pickett, Ritter, all those guys, that threw things off quite a bit. So you had a year or two where it was pretty far down, but last year's class, we had a good amount of starting quarterbacks in it. Then we have another good class here. So that's really helping the depth at quarterback, because for a while there, it was pretty rough as far as quarterback depth goes. But good solid starters. You have probably about 15 to 18 that you feel good about, that are not going to retire tomorrow, but are going to get you solid points. For a while there, it was like 10, 12. So much better spot than we were before. Josh says, do you think Geno keeps his spot the whole year, or does Hal get a shot? I think Hal gets a shot at some point. If I did go after Geno, I would probably want Hal as well. Any of those guys that are not like Matthews, he's locked in, Matthew Stafford. But if it was, I'd want Aiden and Gardner Minshew. I'd want Hal and Geno Smith. If I was going, I'm trying to think of any others that would be kind of on the cusp like that. If I had May, I'd want Jacoby Brissett, just for the short term. So, all right, maybe I'll have to tweet it out. People are napping today. A little sleepy. All right, maybe I'll let me copy this. Twitter, X, whatever. I don't know that I'll ever call it X. All right, let's see. Two spots left to draft live with me. Whoops. All right. It has been tweeted. Oh, there we go. One filled right away. And still waiting on team 5. There we go. Filled. See, sometimes you just got to tweet it out. All right, let me share the big board here. We will share the sleeper draft board. Bam. There it is. There it is, people, in all of its glory. I have pick 2 here. 2. Ryan says, I would join if I wasn't currently on the clock. I get it, man. I get it. You gotta make sure you don't lose your job. It's important. All right, let's start this bad boy. All right. Oh, let's turn those sound effects off. Those can be annoying. All right. I took the second pick. I think I've talked about this before. If I am in a startup, I either want the very top, so the first 2 picks, because I have to get Mahomes or Josh Allen. That's a must for me. If I am not in one of those 2 spots, I do not view the quarterback 3 or the quarterback 4 much different than I value the guys that are much further down the board. So if we're looking at CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, those are the 2 next guys that are typically off the board. I would take one of those 2 if I was stuck in that spot. But when I look at Joe Burrow at 9, ADP-wise, Caleb Williams at 10, Anthony Richardson at 13, Justin Herbert at 17, Jordan Love at 18. Like, I don't value those guys much different. I value them pretty much exactly the same as I would Hurts or CJ Stroud. Maybe a slight difference. So if I can then get the much better second round selection, I would much rather do that than trading up for CJ Stroud. Because as much as I like Stroud, Ohio State fan, loved what he did as a rookie. Like there's a lot to like. But if I am serious about it, I'm not convinced that he's going to ever be a top 3 to 4 quarterback. Maybe. And like I said, if I was there and I was in the 3rd spot or 4th spot, I would take it. But I just don't know for sure. And I feel very similar about him as I do Jordan Love. So I think that's the big thing for me is either give me the top of the draft or give me the bottom. Caden, you're almost up, man. Time's almost up, ticking away. Tick, 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 tick. Justin Jefferson, first one off the board. As far as non-quarterbacks go. So not a surprise, honestly, even with him going there, that's about right for ADP-wise. So we have Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Jefferson, which I have no problem with him being the first non-quarterback off the board. We'll see. Maybe we might have another auto pick here. Hopefully we oh no, we don't. All right, our second wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb off the board here. I am always curious. Like I'd never take that 7, 8, 9 spot. Maybe I'll have to do that in one of these drafts here soon because I am always curious if I would take the receivers there or if I would take the quarterbacks there. Because some of those receivers are pretty tempting. I just don't know that I could do it. I would probably still take a quarterback. It's tough to pass up at that point. Although I'm much more apt to take a running back than I ever have been before in startups early on. Which I'm just, giving my hand away. But you guys listen. You guys know that. A. Brown says, what would y'all be looking for in return for Allen in Superflex? I'm being laughed at for asking for a tier 3 QB and a tier 2 wide receiver. You're being laughed at for that? I don't think that's even enough. Josh Allen's still a young quarterback. Like, you would have to come at me with, so if you're saying tier 3 quarterback, I'm not quite sure exactly the guys you're talking about, but like Tier 3 in my mind, you'd be looking at Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, like guys like that. So Brock Purdy and Matt said you're about to find out just how much I hate running backs. Yeah, so if it was like Brock Purdy and Chris Olave, then I would say that's probably not enough. Like I would need more than that to give up Josh Allen. But if you mean tier 2, like maybe a Garrett Wilson or AJ Brown, I guess that's pretty close. I would still probably rather have Allen though. The difference maker that he is at the quarterback position is just huge, absolutely huge. So, yeah, you might just not be able to move him. You might have to hold on to him, maybe trade a different quarterback. Obviously, you won't get as much in return, but the last thing I want to do, even trades. If I lose a trade here and there, it's not a big deal. I'm drafting for need. And I'm drafting for value and trading for need. So sometimes when you're going for a need, you'll lose a trade by a little bit. I would say just trade one of your other quarterbacks. I would trade one of your other quarterbacks. In talks for Herbert, Jacobs, and a solid wide receiver. Depending on how solid that wide receiver is, that could work. That could work for me. All right, let's update the draft board. After Lamar and Justin Jefferson, we had CeeDee Lamb go off the board. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Anthony Richardson, and Jamar Chase. So 4 wide receivers in 5 picks there. Bijan Robinson, the first running back off the board at 11-1. Joe Burrow goes at 11-1. 111. Joe Burrow off the board with the 12th pick, gets the back-to-back QB, so Justin Herbert, next one. Marvin Harrison off the board at 2-2. Jordan Love. Then we have back-to-back running backs in Jahmyr Gibbs and Breece Hall. Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, Garrett Wilson, and then Puka Nacua. So for me now, I will not be like, if I'm at pick 211 and Gibbs or Hall or somebody does not come back to me, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm off running back for a little bit then, because I want to get one of those elite guys. If I can't get one of those elite guys, then I'm probably not doing it. So that's what I'm looking for in the second round. Now, the third round changes a little bit, but the second round, tight end premium, I'm going to go with Sam Laporta here. I would have no problem waiting and taking a tight end, but with some of the receivers that I like Garrett Wilson would be a heavy consideration for me there. Quarterbacks have gone pretty heavy. Brock Purdy going in round 2. That shows me that you guys are, smart. You should be going quarterback early. But I'll probably fade the position a little bit, and I just got to go where value is at this point. And I think Sam Laporta is probably the best value on the board at the moment. Man, it's interesting some of the values here. All right, AJ Brown off the board at 212. Jay saying, I thought Kyler would come back to me. Ryan says, I'm late, but I'm here. Welcome back from vacay. Appreciate it, man. Ryan, good to have you back here hanging out. Oh, it's a third round reversal. I totally forgot that I even put that in there. Third round reversal. Whoops. Guess I put it in. I truly forgot that I put that in there. So good job, Josh, for paying attention and getting that. For some reason, I thought I looked at it and said, I won't do that this time. Apparently, I did not do that. I did go with the third round reversal. But that's all right. Pick ADP-wise could work out okay, depending on who's there and who is available for me. Brennan's a little upset. He's not happy at the moment. Would you have picked a quarterback instead of Laporta? I probably would have. If Kyler And Lay said same thing. He was looking at Kyler. Kyler would be one that I would be strongly considering there. There's other quarterbacks that I like, though, that tend to fall a little bit further than other quarterbacks. So I'm a little more willing to play it fast and loose with my QB2 as long as I have a top-tier QB1, which I do in Josh Allen. So it's a little bit easier for me to wait on the position a little bit longer than I would normally feel comfortable doing. Grab a little swig of water here. All right. Let's keep this thing moving. So it looks like it's interesting. I'm just doing a little analysis. A little analysis here. As far as where most people are coming from, it looks like most people are still watching and commenting on YouTube, or at least commenting on YouTube. We have a lot of like people that'll watch the stream, maybe look at it real quick and move on Twitter. So let's see. I'll do a little survey right now. If you're watching, listening, help me out here. If you are currently watching from YouTube, even if you haven't commented yet, even if you haven't done anything in the chat, or if you've done a bunch, just say here if you're on YouTube. Same thing if you are coming from Twitter. Just say here, because the little icon will pop up on where you're coming from. I just want to see how many people are coming from each one. Just a little survey, just a little test. All right, just curious where everybody's at. All right, so far we've got 5 from YouTube: Dan, Matt, Charles, I keep wanting to call you AJ Brown. It's just A Brown. Josh, all from YouTube. Fatima, what's up, buddy? Here. Oh, my boy Sean. What's up, buddy? We are currently in our startup right now, or not our startup, our rookie draft. We're a little late. Normally we do it in person too, but I did a terrible job of getting things together this year. And but it's a rookie / Devy draft, so it always makes it more fun. All right, so most people are still that are actually here and active. They're watching on YouTube. This is what this is telling me. This is the information that I needed. All right, I have not updated our third round. I need to update our third round here, but I am up, and of course Devon Achane goes off the board, but I'm happy to still take Jonathan Taylor here. Can we get a 4th round reversal? Jonathan Taylor at 311. I'm totally okay taking him here. There's just not many running backs that I truly believe can carry the load and are still young enough to where I feel solid about them for a few years. So I'm totally okay with taking Jonathan Taylor. I would have taken Devon Achane. That would have been my first choice. But with him being gone, I'm okay with that. So I took Jonathan Taylor with my pick here. And then I'm good with either Dak Prescott or Tua. Those are 2 quarterbacks that I'm totally fine taking. I know people don't like them as much, but I'm just as high on those guys as I am a lot of guys in front of them. So Dak Prescott goes here. I will then take Tua. Tua for me. So I have Josh Allen, Sam Laporta, Jonathan Taylor, and Tua Tagovailoa. But to recap, round 3, Dalton Kincaid goes right after Sam Laporta. Then we have Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, Jaden Daniels, Devon Achane, Chris Olave, Trevor Lawrence, Trey McBride, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle, and then Dak Prescott, Tua, ETN, Ayuk, Rome Odunze, and then Devonta Smith. Love Rome Odunze. He is kind of the afterthought, the forgotten guy between those 3 receivers there. But, man, dude is so smooth, so talented. Really excited to see him in this offense long-term with Caleb Williams. All right, so we are through round 4 right now. Rome is TO 2.0. Ooh, that's a lofty comp. I love it, though. I'm here for it. Kyle, what's good, buddy? Good to have you here, my man. So yeah, I think the people that are in it, that are committed, for the most part, they're coming from YouTube. Although, let me go back and check up at top. Yeah, so it's weird because we have two comments from Twitter that came through on my end. It says 5:28 p.m. 5:28. Kind of weird. Kind of weird. Rome goes up and gets it. Speed doesn't even matter. I agree, but his speed isn't even as bad as people kind of originally said it was. Uh, Sean said, because we're all listening while we're at work. That's right. It's a perfect time to listen. But I don't think his speed is nearly as bad as was advertised. Yes, he's not a burner. He's not Xavier Worthy. He's not Malik Neighbors, speed wise, but he has more than enough speed to get it done. My comp for him was Keenan Allen with a little more juice. And I think that's what he's showing. He's got a lot, and it's hilarious that Keenan Allen ended up on the same team. Did not expect that or see that coming, but hilarious that it worked out that way. That wide receiver core is going to be filthy with those three guys for Caleb Williams. Justin Fields is just pounding dirt right now. Like, guys, seriously? Devonta Smith. Then we have Kyle Pitts and Brock Bowers going back to back. This is interesting to me. Maybe you guys can explain it. Why all the hate, relatively speaking? Why all the hate for Mark Andrews? All this guy does every single year is just goes about his business, gets himself 800 to 1,000 yards, and comes in as a top 3 or so tight end, like every single year. And he's still only, 28, 29? Like in tight end years, that's like being a 25-year-old running back, 24-year-old run. Like, still has plenty of years left. So I'm really curious why he tends to fall so much. Like I could make a strong argument for him being tight end 2. So I'm curious. I get that the youth is there for a lot of these guys. But when we're talking tight end years, I mean, Travis Kelce's 34? Still going strong. A lot of other really good tight ends. Jason Witten, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, like a lot of the other top tier guys. I guess I just don't get it. We even had TJ Hawkinson just go off the board, which I like Hawkinson quite a bit. But he has a questionable quarterback situation. So curious what you guys give me some feedback on this, because I don't understand the little bit of a disrespect, I would say, for Mr. Mark Andrews. Ryan said traded 203 in 2025 for Jaden Reed in a Superflex Dynasty. I think that's a steal. Oh yeah. That's a fantastic trade. Fantastic trade. I would be willing. It would be very close if it was 24, which I'm guessing you mean 24 203, because you shouldn't know yet what you would have in 25. But there we go. We got Mark off the board there. Thank you, Matt, for taking it. Yeah, if it was 2024, I would say 110 would be the range I'd be looking at, because I wouldn't take him over the Rome Odunzes, the Brock Bowers, the quarterbacks, but he'd be right in the same range as like Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey. So, yeah, interesting. A. Brown saying everyone forgot about him because he was out in the back half of the year and didn't show up for them in the playoffs. Matt B said Markey gets hate due to injury history. I love him, though. As a Ravens fan, it was super tough to lose him. Ryan saying it's a bottom 3 team in the league, so it's pretty certain what the pick will be. Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, so you're giving up a year from now, even better, Ryan. I expect Pitts to be the first target in ATL. I love Pitts this year. I have a lot of Kyle Pitts. I've made a lot of trades. I've drafted him in startups. Like I am totally in on Kyle Pitts this year. Josh saying, I just think it's an age thing with Andrews, honestly. Plus a new quarterback. Don't they always say tight end is a QB's new best friend? Can be. Absolutely can be. That is the saying. We'll have to see. Caden says, fine, I'll conform with society and get on YouTube. Hey, I appreciated you being the Lone Ranger there, Caden. Just you against the world, my man. Just you against the world. All right, third round so far. We've got TJ Hawkinson, Kyron Williams, then the aforementioned Mark Andrews, Tank Dell, Travis Kelce, DK Metcalf, then the guy that just got the new deal and new contract, Mr. DJ Moore. Ryan says, do you think Jaden Daniels is going too high in drafts? Honestly, I'm fine with him as a third. Ooh, got all choked up there. Apparently, this is making me emotional. I'm fine with him as a third-round pick. It's risky, but his upside is much higher than that of the Tuas and the Trevor Lawrences of the world. So, I have no issue as far as him going in the third round. Sean saying, Nerds is deaf in the convo for the best Dynasty content out there. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. All right. Off the board here, Pickens, McConkey, and Flowers. So that leaves me on the clock. And guys, you guys have definitely been listening to Dynasty Nerds because quarterback has been basically depleted. We have a lot of good wide receivers that have been taken. But at this point, I think the hate's gone a little too far on some of these running backs. I'll go for a little bit more of a win now approach, and I'm going to take Saquon Barkley here. Brendan says, by the way, whole team is on the block. Send me some offers. He is ready to blow this thing up, get some 2025 first-round picks going in this mock draft. So we will probably be going, all right, a couple more running backs off the board there. Jacobs is tempting. I'm not a big white guy. I could see Pacheco, but I think here's a good spot to either get my third quarterback or to get what is now my first wide receiver. And I think I'm going to take the first receiver off the board. T. Higgins, a guy that I still like quite a bit. He's either going to be long-term with Joe Burrow or the number one receiver somewhere. So I still like T. Higgins a lot. I'm much more willing to fade wide receiver than I ever was before. Typically, I was always taking wide receiver early, but there's just so much value late. So many good wide receivers later that you can get. So I'm much more willing to fade wide receiver than I ever was before. Ryan saying Saquon went way late. Yeah, almost the 6th round by the time he finally went. So very, very happy to get him at that point. And it just tells me I'm more of a win now type of team. That really kind of solidified the route that my team was going here. Kyle said, got here late. Any chance Puka underperforms this year to ADP with a healthy cup? I know he had a crazy rookie year, but Puka there in the offense only supported 2 wide receivers once. I know it's a late question. That's fine, Kyle. I have been down on Puka Nacua overall. Not a big Puka Nacua guy. Not that I think he's a bad player. I just think it's more about scheme and quarterback than it is about him as a player. We saw, Robert Woods, a guy that was, for all intents and purposes, he was dead after his time in Buffalo and totally was revitalized because of that offense. Even Cooper Kupp, good wide receiver, would look very different on a different team. So I guess it all depends on how long is Stafford there, how long is McVay there, because there's rumblings every year about them retiring. Will that ever actually come to fruition? I don't know. But it's tougher for me to just bank on a player because of the situation and less because of their talent. So, Ryan saying, do you think Garrett Wilson will finish under or lower? I'm guessing over under wide receiver 9. I think he's going to be under. So wide receiver 7, 8. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. With Aaron Rodgers this year. I think he could legitimately have a top 6 season. Matt said, I would have preferred Garrett Wilson over Puka, but I'm pleased with Puka, who I drafted. Puka was a dog. He had an incredible first year. Interesting. Caden, I would love to hear your thoughts here. Bryce Young over McCarthy and Drake May. Definitely a deviation from ADP, which I'm always for deviating from ADP. I think it's good to know where people are going and where they're at, but being a slave to ADP is always a risky maneuver. So would love to hear Caden's thoughts as to why Bryce Young over McCarthy and May. May, the first quarterback off the board for that team too. So we have a couple other teams that are willing to play it a little fast and loose at quarterback. Then we have some others that are already getting their quarterback threes off the board. Would you take him over A.J. Brown? Can't go that far yet with Garrett Wilson. It's a risky maneuver. You know what you're getting out of A.J. Brown. I would be willing to do that, but that's betting solely on the talent and Aaron Rodgers being able to be a competent quarterback, which that's all he needs. He just needs a competent quarterback. He doesn't need a great quarterback, just a competent quarterback. If you can get somebody that's in the top 25 of starting quarterbacks, he'll be good. Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed off the board. So, yeah, about the range that I talked about. I said Jaden Reed, I'd be fine with McConkey, Worthy, like right in there. He goes a little bit after those guys, but right in the same range there. Will Levis, another team with their first quarterback off the board here. J-turn 3-1-4, taking Will Levis as their QB1. So quarterback's getting pretty interesting here overall. Definitely prioritizing these young guns. Not as much love for the older guys. Not as much love for the older guys here. JLYDA, Jay Leda, and me, Office, have a history. I hate him. He always steals my players. That's pretty funny. I did not know that. But it's good to know that you guys have this rivalry brewing here. I like it. Neither one of you going for the running back, so that makes sense. You guys are similar strategies with your startups, so I can see why there's a little bit of distaste for one another. Caden says, I'm not giving up on a number one pick after only 1 year. Canales will bring out the best in him. Look at what he did with Baker last year. Yes, and what he did with Geno Smith the year before. So he has a history of that as well. Is J-turn I'm guessing planning to draft a QB in the next 2 years rookie drafts? I'm guessing so. Bo Nix at 7-2 here. I like it. I'm not a big Bo Nix guy personally, but I like the confidence in the young gun there. Deshaun Watson there at 7-1, third quarterback for just Josh. And then Rashee Rice there at pick 7-3. I don't think I did a recap for last round, so let me do that real quick. After my picks there, after Saquon, we had Kenneth Walker, James Cook, then T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, George Kittle, Jordan Addison, Bryce Young, J.J. McCarthy, Drake May, Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed, Will Levis, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Deshaun Watson, Bo Nix, Rashee Rice, Deebo Samuel there at pick 7-4. Captain Kirk Cousins goes off the board at 7-5. That was the one I was waiting to see. A lot of hate right now for Captain Kirk. Going much lower than I expect him to go in many drafts. I would continually take him higher. A couple guys that I really have my eye on that I am hoping fall to me at 7-11, but we will have to wait and see. Do you think Kendre Miller is a drop worthy in Dynasty after what Dennis Allen said about him? He said he won't make the team in the medical tent. Yeah, it was a very interesting comment. Drop might be a little bit harsh, but depending on who it is, I have no issue with it. Didn't do anything as a rookie, and I've never been one that's like overly believed in his talent, but I think drop might be a little harsh. You might as well wait and see what you have unless you have really, really shallow benches. Brennan, I went super early on Ladd. Wasn't entirely too high on him, until all the reports in camp so far and reports confirming that Johnson is trash. Yeah, we kind of knew. We kind of knew. We'd been talking about. That prototype. We didn't have that prototype as much this year, but several years in a row, the prototypes of the Treylon Burks, the Quentin Johnstons, the big guys that aren't as athletic as people say they are and don't have great ball skills. Like, those are easy fades for me. Easy fades. And we'll see. We could have a couple of those guys in this year's draft as well, and those are guys that are just easy fades for me. Hop Killer, OTC in the draft, already have quarterback and tight end locked down in a tight end premium. Love it. James, why don't you do nerd scores for tight ends? And which tight end do you prefer in Eric All or Wiley? As far as why we don't, I'm open to potentially doing it in the future. The hard part is guys would score very well potentially on things that just don't matter for fantasy. And that's what's tricky, because if I'm watching tape and a guy's a fantastic blocker, that's awesome, but it just isn't going to matter. So that's why we haven't done it in the past. I'm open to potentially doing it. And maybe we would do nerd scores in a way where it would be solely just for receiving purposes. But it's hard to differentiate that on film. And not that it's hard to differentiate, but I would want to give guys credit for that, but it just wouldn't help fantasy. Traded Miller for Ty Chandler, I would do that. Higher upside backup. Like, I would make that move as well. All right. We saw the Buccaneers go back-to-back in Rachaad White and Baker Mayfield. B. Shells is up. He's looking. I'm pretty happy because two of the guys that I want, they're both still there. Trey Benson, Ramondre Stevenson, two guys that I like quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and take Trey Benson here. So I have gone pretty hard at the running back position with only one wide receiver so far. But I want to add a little bit of youth to that running back room. That's a little bit on the older side. So that'll help me as Saquon Barkley ages out a little bit. Trey Benson will be right in his prime. Hop Killer, have a few options here. Round 6, Higgins, JSN, Ladd, Worthy, BTJ. Would you go a running back like James Cook or Benson? Already have DK and Jefferson. I would probably be going with Higgins there personally. But I think a couple good options. Ramondre Stevenson, next pick. Then Cooper Kupp off the board. Leaves me here to try to decide what to do. And I am really high on Terry McLaurin. With a more of a win now team, I think he is going to be a monster this year with Jaden Daniels. I think he could do very similar to what we saw with Nico Collins this past year. A good young quarterback being able to get his guy the ball. We saw that back in the day with Cam Newton. We saw it with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. We saw it with like these guys that are young come in. I guess Kyler might have been Newt came in the year after, but still the same point still hits. When you get a young quarterback coming in with a stud receiver, usually good things for that stud wide receiver. Matt said traded Rachaad White and Debo for Neighbors a little while back. What do you think? I would take Neighbors in that deal 100 times out of 100. So, guys, we are about to hit our hour mark, and we will be wrapping up. So we will finish up the 8th round here, and then we will be pausing at the end of round 8, recap the teams real quickly, and then go on with our day. But thank you guys, as always, for joining me. Genuinely appreciate you guys. Sorry, I'm struggling with some throat stuff here today. I know it's not attractive to hear that noise in a microphone. Probably should have muted my mic. That's what a professional would have done. Still working on becoming a professional. All right after Terry McLaurin, we have Mike Evans, Derrick Henry, We've got Jake Ferguson and then Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, I think, really good value there at that point. Christian Kirk at 8-7. Then we'll see, is my boy Javonte going to go? Javonte Williams. Whoever takes him, you get bonus points in my heart and love for me. We also could take my guy. Where's Tajay? Right there, not far apart. Who wants some extra love? It has no monetary value, but you could have it. Who's the number one handcuff running back to either trade for or pick up off waivers? If you consider Tajay a handcuff, then absolutely him. If we're going with just true handcuff, number one guy would probably be. We did an episode on this a little while back. Obviously, Benson I wouldn't consider a true handcuff either. It probably would be Ty Chandler. He would be one of the top tier guys. Bucky Irving, I think, is another one that I would be strongly considering. Actually, now that I think about it, Blake Corum's probably the top one if you would consider him a handcuff. Blake Corum's probably the top one. All right, last two picks. We just saw David Njoku, Cole Kmet, so a lot of tight ends going off the board here. Who's the handcuff in KC? Ugh. Man, it's tough. Javonte, yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Warms my heart. All right, Javonte went off the board there at the very end of round 8. So, yeah, KC, it's probably Clyde Edwards-Helaire, unfortunately. I know that's not what you want to hear, but I'm guessing he's going to be the handcuff from what we've seen so far. Kyle said, looking to tear down from Puka, I have offers with JSN or Jaden Reed plus, double plus in both. Who would you rather have long-term or hold Puka? I'm a 2-year rebuild, so trying to get some more assets. Depends on what you can get as a plus. If I can get JSN and a first, like a mid-first, that's a deal that I would really, really like to make. So, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Josh gets extra love for drafting Javonte Williams. Appreciate all you guys. We will be back next Thursday. And I don't think I have any other trips coming up, so it should be basically every other Thursday from here moving forward. So, appreciate you guys. Oh, Bearded Jebediah snuck in at the last minute. Did move Kmet instead of McBride. Thanks for the advice. Dude, awesome. Great work. Appreciate all you guys. Best of luck this week. I'll talk to you guys soon.